All right, so today is Q&A day. Hopefully you caught my video a couple of weeks ago where I announced I was going to be doing the Q&A because in that same video I also announced a giveaway. Today we're going to be doing the Q&A as well as the drawing for two watches. One, a really nice diver from Whitby Watch Co, the Mare, as well as a Casio. I'll show them to you here again in just a minute, but before we get to the giveaway, we're going to do the Q&A. To enter the contest, all you had to do is ask a question for today's video. So I have them pared down to a few. There was lots of really good ones. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to them all today, but really appreciate everybody participating and good luck with the draw. So let's get to the questions. Okay, so going to be reading the questions off of my cheat sheets here. And question number one is from Daniel Himmelberger. He asks, my question is, do you get to decide the spec when manufacturers send watches for review, dial, color, strap, etc., or do you take whatever you can get? A lot of them do ask if I have a dial color preference. If that happens, I usually try to pick kind of the funkiest or craziest of them all just because they're a little bit more fun to shoot. If they don't ask, I don't ask because I also like the surprise when it comes to getting the watch in and seeing what color they decided to send out. The next one is a question I'm really glad that it got asked, and it was asked by two or three different people, sort of variations of the question. But Paul Len asks, are you planning to host live streams regularly? Hosting with other channels would be a great way to induce community fun, and the answer is yes. You might have missed it, but last weekend I went live for the very first time on the channel with a good friend of mine, Jamie from Mad Rock Watches and Adventure out of Newfoundland. Jamie and I are very close friends and talk almost on a daily basis, and we've been talking about doing a live stream for a long time. We went live as kind of a test last weekend. It didn't go totally perfect, but we did work out some of the technicals for the future live streams. So the plan is to go live once a week on the weekend. We haven't zeroed in on an exact time. The podcast or the stream is going to be called The Weekend Beaters. So keep an eye out for that. We hope to go live this weekend and in future weekends coming. We also plan to have some guests on in the future, some people from the watch community, maybe some other YouTubers. So look out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. The next question is from Tom Frost, and he asks, if you could wear only one watch brand for the rest of your life, which brand would you choose? That includes all subsidiaries and collections of that brand. Well, to pick this, I'd like to ask you a question. Does Grand Seiko count as a subsidiary of Seiko? If so, definitely Seiko. Even if not, the thought that came to mind straight away when you asked this question is, what is a brand that has a huge collection of watches, a huge catalog of watches? And Seiko has that. When it comes to vintage, they have their bases covered with all kinds of pieces. They have digital pieces that are very rugged and robust. Then there's the higher end, even if we're sticking to Seiko, the higher end. I know Seiko kind of takes a bit of hate right now from the watch community. And to be honest with you, my Seiko collection is quite small compared to what it once was. But I think I would have to go with Seiko if I had to choose. Thankfully, I don't. Next question is from actually a friend of mine I know through Instagram, Rafa. He has a huge Timex collection, really nice vintage Timex as well as modern and other pieces as well. But his Instagram, give him a follow, is Timex Vintage MX. Rafa is asking about how I started the channel. I've been trying to start something, but I can't find the inspiration and the way to go. Well, one thing that you have going for you straight away is you're an amazing photographer, and that's going to translate really well to videography too. It's hard to say where I got my inspiration from. I know I procrastinated on starting my channel for a long time. One thing that I would maybe look to doing to start, and this wasn't an option when I first started, is trying out some shorts and seeing how that feels. Just 30 to 60-second videos. I think that's a good way to kind of get your toes wet and get a feel for how things are going to work, and then maybe expand into more full-length videos after that. But that's my suggestion for now. But I know it is not easy to hit that record button for the very first time. Next one is a bit of a hard one to answer in a short kind of a Q&A format like this, but Dave Ross asks, can you share your photo and video setup and any editing softwares you use? So this could be a video all on its own. It could be even multiple videos. I am far from being a professional when it comes to photography and videography. If you had a professional come in here and go through what I do, I'm probably technically wrong in a lot of different areas, but I'm going to put a picture up of my current setup as it is right now when I'm sitting here at the studio. So basically I'm looking into a newish camera to me, the Canon EOS R. I have the kit lens on it right now. For these kind of parts of the video, I do plan to upgrade my lens to something different soon. I do have a 100 millimeter macro lens that I like to use for most of my intros and Instagram pictures, that sort of thing. My microphone is from Rode. It's a Video Mic NTG, I believe it's called. And then I just have a couple of cheap Amazon lights. And I'll throw up a picture too of my tabletop setup. Again, same camera, same lens and mic. And then I have a reflector on the back side of my coffee table just to fill in some of the shadows. And that's pretty much the setup as far as video editing software goes. I use a couple of different things, but a lot of my edits are quite basic. So I'll even do quite a few of the videos just on iMovie. Rob G asks, what is your favorite micro or independent brand? And right now, my favorite, and this could change, it does change from time to time, but my favorite micro brand right now is Isotope Watches. I'm actually wearing the Hydrium Burnt Tangerine. The owner, Jose, just has a lot of fun with these watch designs. They're serious watches, but fun designs. From the very first Hydrium, the Will Return, thought that was such a cool watch. Now there's a newer version, a fully loomed dial called the Exit. I also really like their bronze watch, the old radium bronze. And there's a very cool looking chronograph that's going to be coming out later this year too. So that's a brand I enjoy and I would definitely keep an eye on for future releases. The next one comes from Alex, and he asks, my question is if you have any new traveling plans for spring/summer, and we have plans for both. We haven't booked the spring yet, but we are going to be going away with my brother and my sister-in-law. Looking at Costa Rica, but a couple other options too. And we haven't settled on the place. We're just waiting for everybody to get their time booked off and get that all lined up. So that's going to be booked soon. In July, we are booked. We're going with a few members of the family to Greece for the very first time. I'm very excited for that. A couple of days in Athens. We've rented a place in Crete that is amazing. I can't wait to get the drone up in the air and show you guys the sights around there. So we're going to be doing some exploring around Crete, probably hit at least one other island too. I am really excited. That's kind of a bucket list destination for us. That's going to be in July. It's for my wife's birthday. That one is confirmed and booked. So definitely some videos coming on some traveling very soon. Next up is a question from somebody that's kind of sounds like they're newer to the watch world. The question is from Ian, and he asks, does it take a lot of cash to start watch collecting? The answer to that is absolutely not. I would suggest starting with one of the watches that's a part of this giveaway today. One of the brands that is, and that is Casio. You can get some very affordable digitals as well as analog quartz watches from Casio, from starting at even $10, $15 and up. So if I was just to be starting out right now and I was on a bit of a budget, I would definitely start with Casio. Bojo asks, do you have a limit on how many watches you want to have in your collection? Do you think there should be an adequate number, or do you think in a way that the more, the better? I personally don't have really rules when it comes to my collection as far as the amount of watches I have or how I wear watches. Really not any rules at all. So maybe that's a bad thing, but to answer the question, my personal collection fluctuates quite a bit because of the YouTube channel. I've had as many as 60 or 70 watches. Right now, I probably have, I would say maybe 15 to 20, and a few of those are on the chopping block that will be probably moved on, sold to consolidate to get something a little bit nicer. There is a couple of watches I have on the radar that will come up in this Q&A soon. I think it's really up to the person. Some people are comfortable having multiple hundreds of watches. There's a guy here in Toronto that has, I think, 300 or 400 that goes to the local Red Bar. That's a buddy of mine, and I also have friends that have 2 or 3. So it's really up to you and what you're comfortable with. For me, as I get into, or sort of aged a little bit when it comes to watch collecting, I do feel less can be more, and I think I'd be happy with a smaller collection down the road. But this YouTube channel does not help that situation at all. This next one is a really good question. Probably not the most popular answer that I'm going to have here, but V asks, what's the one watch that you really wanted to like, but just couldn't bring yourself to once you had it in hand / owned it? And there's one that comes to mind straight away, and that is the Black Bay. I owned the original Edda with the smiley face, and I just could not connect with that watch. I had it for about a year. It's a great watch. It has probably the best bezel action. It is the best bezel action that I've ever experienced in a dive watch, but just something about it. I got bored with that watch very quickly. I've tried on the Black Bay 58s and the GMTs, and for some reason, they just don't do it for me. I get it. It's a popular watch, and I understand why, but that is the one watch that really stands out to me as a watch that I just couldn't connect with after owning it. All right, so this is kind of a good follow-up to the last question. This one's from Anonymous Watch Guy. If you're not following, give him a follow here on YouTube. He has a really cool channel. But he asks, what watch are you eyeing to add to your collection this year? The one watch, there's 2 or 3 that I'd like to add, but the big one that I'd love to add to the collection this year is from the same brand we were just discussing, Tudor, and that is the P01. I don't know why, but as soon as that watch was released, I just loved it straight away. The very last vacation I took, we went to Austria. The last vacation before the whole lockdown thing, I got to try that on, and I don't know if it was because I was stuck in the house for so long afterwards, but that was the last watch I tried on at an AD for about a year, and it just stuck with me, and that's one that I'd love to end up adding to the collection at some point. Now, hopefully this year. Okay, so last question, second to last. We're going to do 2 more, and this question is on a topic I really had never planned on talking about on the channel, only because it's been just so overdone. The question comes from Miser Myra. The question is, what do you think of the Omega Moonswatch? Is it overhyped? 100% it is overhyped. There's never been a more overhyped watch in the history of watches, I don't think. I was on the fence when they first came out last year. I didn't like how they were released and the fact that you couldn't buy them online and still can't buy them online. I think the idea of the Moonswatch is kind of fun, and I even ended up picking up the Mars pretty early on after the initial release, within a couple of months, I think. It didn't really do much for me, and I ended up selling it at cost to a friend of mine that was trying to put together the full collection. Neptune, I know he's still looking for Neptune. Those are pretty hard to come by right now, but this last one kind of put the nail in the coffin for me. The whole thing with the second hand being made on a full moon day is just weak to me. The design is weak. I'm kind of over it. I'm tired of hearing about the Moonswatch, and this will probably be the last time you'll hear me talk about the Moonswatch on this channel, except for this last question. This one's from Andrew Dill, and he asks, do you have the watch of the year in 2022? And it is hands down the Moonswatch. There's nothing that comes close. There is some positives that came out of it. I think we've attracted a lot of new members into the watch community because of that release. And it was kind of fun. I remember watching last year when they first came out. It was fun seeing the hype, the energy. I mean, there were some situations that got a little out of hand with the lineups, but yeah, so that is it for the questions. Really appreciate, again, everybody that contributed. So let's switch things up. I'm going to grab the watches. We'll move over to the tabletop, and we will draw for the winners. So here are the watches up for grabs. I'll go through both of them. We'll start with the Casio. I just put the names in the random comment picker just a moment ago and have drawn the winner. So I'm going to show you guys who won in just a minute. Casio is an awesome watch. When it comes to watches in that kind of 100-ish dollar US dollar range, this is one of the best that I've found. We've got a sapphire crystal, 100-meter water resistance, a beautiful brushed dial, ultra thin case, integrated bracelet. I think this is an awesome watch to have. Now, as far as the winners go, when this leaves my house, I'm going to be sending you a tracking number, but that's where my responsibility ends. If you happen to have any duties to pay or taxes, that sort of thing, that will be on you. So let's do the drawing for the winner of the Casio, and the winner is Boots, Jeans, and the Odd Watch, which is a pretty cool username. I'm wondering maybe if there's a channel behind that name, and if so, I'll give it a check here shortly. So congratulations on the new watch. Reach out to my email, TimeToGo1978@gmail.com to claim your prize, and I'll send it out right away. Let's move over to the Whitby Watch Co. And I just got to thank the fellas over at Whitby for making this giveaway happen. They contributed this watch for the giveaway, and I am very much appreciative of that. This is an excellent watch. We were talking about bezel action earlier with the Tudor. This is right up there with some of the best too. Love the white dial with the orange accents. So let's do the draw. And the winner of the Mare from Whitby Watch Co. is Mark Besson. Congratulations, Mark, on the new watch. I'm sure you're going to really enjoy this one. Again, to claim the watch, reach out to TimeToGo1978@gmail.com. I'll send it out as soon as possible. Thanks again to Whitby for helping out with the giveaway. Really appreciate everybody contributing with questions and entering the giveaway. It's been a lot of fun. We'll definitely be doing it again. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more videos just like this, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.